Yes, tell me, what is auth? Okay. And what is authentication? Yes, perfect, right? To prove that you are who you say you are, right? So why do we use auth? What do you think we use auth? Before I even go into it, what do you think we use auth? Security, also to limit the use of your API, right? So some services out there have not unlimited resources, right? So the APIs out there, maybe if there are free API services out there, they want to limit the amount of API calls that you can make per request because there could be some dangers in there as well. Like for example, flooding your server with a bunch of unneeded requests and so on, right? So auth in programming languages, auth stands for authorization and authentication. Authentication, right? So authentication, verifying identity, and authorization, granting permissions. Okay, so authentication to verify that you are who you say you are, and authorization is just verifying that you have the specific permission to use that resources. Okay. So take a look as an example. This, you know, those IDs that you guys have, maybe driver license or ID that you have to show at the bar, right? So imagine this ID in here to this ID in this way is just to see that you are verifying you are the person that you say, right? And then imagine this ID in here, right? To verify that you are old enough to grab a beer at a bar, right? Well, that doesn't happen in every, like this is in here 21. In the United States, we have the age 21 in order for you to be able to drink alcohol, right? But in other countries, like let's say Germany, is 18 years old to be able to drink or something like that. So, but you have to verify your age to be able to drink alcohol, right? So we have authentication and authorization auth, right? So what type of auth do you know so far? What are the type of auth that you guys know? Any? You guys have used some auth in your applications. Which one? Okay, so in the auth is where you are going to be able to identify and you're going to be able to authorize. So what part of that internet banking will be important for the auth? Okay, the login, the username and password, correct, right? So they're basic auth, like the one that you guys mentioned, the username and password, that is the most basic one, right? And then you have what is the API key. The API key is just like an invitation for you to be able to use that service, right? And then you have in here the OAuth, okay? So the OAuth is the most sophisticated method right now for the auth, right? And this is going to create, this is takes a process of giving you token to be able to give it an access token, okay? We're going to see more about OAuth because we are going to be implementing OAuth today in today's workshop. Are we recording this? Yes, we are. Okay. So here, this is an example of API keys. I'm pretty sure that you guys have already heard about API keys, right? Right. Right. So when you go, in order for you to get an API key, the process is usually that you sign up or register in the website, and they will give you or generate an API key for you. Okay. And um, if you violate all the rules of this of the usage of this API key, it can be revoked at any time. Usually, some example of getting an API key is like when you go to Open Weather API. So the Open Weather API gives you an API key that you can use their free services to grab the temperature and weather based on your location, right? But now let's focus on OAuth, right? Where the magic happens. We're going to learn about OAuth today. And I'm pretty sure you have seen the usage of OAuth before, right? Have you seen these websites that they have that when you try to log in, they say log in with these different social logins, right? This is using thanks to OAuth, okay? So instead of you having actually to put the password or registering in that website, okay, you can just log in using your social network, your other services right there, right? And you don't need to provide password all the time, right? If you're already logged in your social, in one of these accounts, you can automatically log in these services like DoorDash in here. So imagine OAuth to be like a valid key. So have you ever heard about valid keys? If you have a luxury car, let's say Lamborghini, I want my Lamborghini one day. So if one of those luxury cars, they have a valid key, okay? With this valid key, you can, when you go to those hotels, right? You can give this valid key to the valid people on the hotel, right? And then they can take this valid key and drive your car to the parking place of the hotel, right? Cool, right? But with this valid key, it comes with a limitation. This valid key does not have all the rights. So it's not going to allow the valet to open the trunk or the locker and where you save stuff in your car. And it's not going to allow the valet guy to drive all the way to the sunset somewhere out there. No, no, no. It comes with limitations. So this OAuth also comes with limitation, right? When you provide an access token, you provide access to certain amount of resources, but you're not giving the master key, okay? You're not giving the master key of your resources, so they cannot access everything in your application, okay? So that's OAuth. Who in here wants to have a valid key? I would like to, you know? So let's talk about this. There are two types of OAuth, okay? Two types, right? One is OAuth 1A, and the other one is OAuth 2.0, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about the history of OAuth, right? So the people who invented where it all started was with Twitter. So the people from Twitter now is called X. The people from Twitter, they were trying to make one of this unique ID logging to people to be able to log in with other services. Okay, so other people, other companies, other programmers, other developers saw this as an opportunity to implement and develop, so it can be used for not only Twitter but for more other services. So it all started in 2006 in Twitter, right? However, it became popular in 2007, but then there is one thing in here. OAuth 1 is a little bit more complicated to implement, okay? So what they did is that they came out with OAuth 2.0, okay, which has a different procedure, a different process of creating the tokens, right? To be able to provide access to the resources, okay? So let's take a look at this. So first, the client application, let's say your application that you're building in here, is going to first ask, let's say this client application wants to access the Google contacts, okay? So this client application is going to request authorization. Hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Okay. So it's going to request authorization from the resource owner. Okay. So the end user of your application. Okay. So there is like a pop-up window that is going to say, "May I see your contacts, your Google contacts?" And you can say the end user can say allow or reject or not allowed, right? So if this resource owner says it's okay for this application to see, okay, to see to view the contacts, the Google contacts, then if it is okay, this is going to send the authorization grant code. You're going to get an authorization grant code from here, and it's going to be sent to the authorization server, okay, of your service provider, okay? And it's going to say, please give me access, the access token, okay? So the authorization server is going to then provide the access token. This access token expires, okay? So it needs to be, after a certain amount of time is passed, it needs to be refreshed, okay? So after the access token is given by the authorization server, then the application is going to use this access token to ask for the request. In the request, it's going to ask for the resources, okay? And so the resource server is going to grab this access token, verify this access token, and then give out the resources that this application needed, okay? That's the OAuth dance. Yes. Mm-hmm. They're different, okay? Different. So the Google has an authorization server and the Google has a resource server, okay? So you will have different URLs that will point, one is going to point to the authorization server and another is going to point to the resource server. Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. And we are going to be using it today, so you guys are going to see. But we are going to be using the authorization server for Spotify and also the resource server for the Spotify as well. Okay, so these are the different type of OS grant types that can be given to you. Okay, so we have what is the authorization code. Let me see if I have this pointer. Okay. Is this a pointer? This one? Oh, okay. Thank you. So we have the authorization code. Okay. So this authorization code, this is going to be involving, the dance that we show you, right? You're going to ask, it's going to ask the user for permission, then it's going to make a request for the access token, and so on. Okay? We also have this authorization code with Pixie. Okay? This is usually for single pages, okay? And this client secret cannot be hidden from the public. We also have the password. We have the credentials, the client credentials, and the implicit one, which is the legacy. But right now for this implicit, instead of using implicit, we are using the authorization code with Pixie. Okay? But for today, the grant type that we are getting is authorization code. Okay, so you saw the different dance that needs to be done, and you can do it all of that in your terminal and so on. However, in Postman, the Postman platform, it simplified things for you. Okay, look how simple getting an authorization code is. Like, you have to provide a callback URL, provide the authorization server URL, and then you provide the access token URL, and so on. So you're going to enter the grant types and credentials, and then get an access token. So sometimes you wonder, why do you want to create a workflow, right? So a workflow is a chain of API a chain of API calls. Hello. A chain of API calls together that you do in order, right, to be able to access a resource. Okay. So with Postman, you are going to be able to make it more automatic, okay? This process, all right? So we are going to be building our workflow, and this is what we are going to be using. Remember that you're being hired by a busy music blogger, right? To create an application that will help them, right, discover new music, right? So today, we're going to create a workflow that is going to recommend songs for this music blogger, okay? So what we have to do is, first, we are going to be using this Spotify API. We are also going to be using the Auth 2.0, and Postman, of course, right? Okay. So this is going to be how the workflow is going to be, right? So first you get the access token, right? Second, you get the track ID. Track ID is the song ID, right? And then you get the track recommendations, okay? All right, so I'm going to do this, okay? So first, okay, where is it? Okay. So, okay, so for those of you who are new here and don't have a account with Postman, you can sign up for free. We're going to be using the browser version of the Postman platform. However, Postman also has a desktop version. But we're going to be using the browser. If you are new and you don't have access to Postman, you can sign up for free. If you're not new, then you can just sign in. Right now, this is using Auth as well. All right. So once you log in, okay, you can create. You have your workspace, okay? You can create your own workspace or go to the default workspace at the beginning. And then you can create a new collection, okay? I'm going to call this a blank collection, new collection. This is going to be named API 102. It is Ottawa. All right. So you guys can put any names that you desire to have, okay? Any names that you guys desire, you can use for your new collection, okay? So I'm going to go in here. Oh. And I'm going to go to the developer.spotify.com. 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 And the first thing that you guys want to do is to check the documentation, right? So we want two things, okay? We want to get the track ID and we want to get the recommendations, the recommended songs, right? So we go to the documentation and we are going to be creating a web API, okay? So we're going to be going to the web API. We want to use the web API. We want to use the web API of Spotify, okay? So the first thing that you would like to take a look at is the authorization, okay? How do you get authorized? How do you authorize? So there are different type of authorization. The authorization code flow is the one that we want to take a look at. What is required? we have this. Is there? We have this in here is the authorization. This in here is the authorization URL. And in the bottom, we have the token URL. So these two URLs are important. Now, if we want to search for tracks, which API in here in these references, which API do you think we look for? Search, okay. So we go to search, and this API is the one that we want to look at, right? So this is the endpoint for search. API.spotify.com /v1/search. Okay. 1 second. Let me see something. Was there any questions in here? No. Right. So we want to check this, right? And what is required? So what is required in here is the query, the search query, okay, Q, all right? And the type, those two things are required, okay? So we have in here those two things, the search query and the type. The type that we want to go for is the track, okay? And the search query, we are going to search based on artist and based on track, okay? And these are some examples. And so on, okay? But apart from that, if we want to get recommendations, tracks recommendations, then we go to tracks, and then we go ahead and look into the recommendations part of it, okay? So look at here. The APIs for search is using OAuth 2.0, and the API to get recommendation is also using OAuth 2.0, okay? So we are going to be using OAuth 2.0 for our implementation, okay? So the first thing that we want to do in here is that we want to create a request. So I'm going to go to my collection and add a request, okay? And this request can be named any name that you guys want. Get track ID, request track ID, okay? And now, before I even do anything in here, and I can just type something in here for now, before I do anything, I would go to here. Now I would just go here and type in the endpoint so you guys see something. For search, right? Copy this, paste. Right now, if I make this and I need Q and type. Right now, if I do this, am I going to get any response? No. We cannot make any requests yet because we're missing something. Before making the request, what do we need? Yes, we need a token, right? And for that, we need to have an authorization code and so on, right? So in order for us to do that, first, we're going to go to this collection in here, click on the collection itself, and then click on authorization. And then you click on type, and then you click on which one? OS 2.0, right? Okay. So first, you can select a name. You can decide any names that you guys want to do for this token, okay? To get this token. Let's call it API 5. However you guys want to call it, it's up to you. But this is the important part in here. The callback URL. So we're going to copy this callback URL. Copy this. And once you have this callback URL, once you have this callback URL, copy, right? Once you have that, we are going to go to the Spotify, developers.spotify.com, and you're going to click on login. You're going to, if you don't have an account, you can create an account, okay? So in this account, you go to the dashboard, okay? In the dashboard, you go to create app. So you just, okay, perfect. So then you give this an app name, okay? So any names that you guys want, it's up to you guys. So I'm going to call it, let's call it PDC Sound Recommender. Provide a description, recommend song. And in here, in the redirect URI is where you're going to put the callback URL, okay? So you're going to paste it. And then the APIs that you want to access from Spotify for this is going to be the web API, okay? So we are going to click on web API. Click on understand. Read the guidelines if you guys want, and save. So now you are here, and then you click on settings. In the settings, you will have what is the client ID, okay? So you have the client ID, and you have what is the client secret, okay? The client ID and the client secret. The secret? So basically from settings. Mm-hmm. And then this is important. All right. I'm going to copy the client ID. That's to identify, okay? So I'm going to copy the client ID and here. And I'm going to copy the client secret. However, I don't want to put it just like that. I will just name it as a variable. Client scope, the collection, set variable. And this is going to be client secret. Scope, collection, set variable. So we have in here client ID and client secret. But we also need what is the authorization server URL and the token URL. Okay? So let me just make sure. So then you guys can see where do we get this authorization code, authorization URL? Where do you guys think? We already saw it. From where? Yes, correct. So we go to the documentation in here. Web API, authorization code. What I'm going to do is copy this until here. It does not matter if I put a question mark in here, it's fine. So I copy this and I paste it. And the other one is going to be for the token. I go back to my authorization, to my documentation and go ahead and grab this, the token URL, copy that, and paste it. So we have this one and we have this one, okay? I save it. And in here, I will go ahead and in the bottom, click on Get New Access Token. Okay? So you click on Get New Access Token. And then it's asking me to log in, and I have to log in. 1 second with my other account. Yes? Yes. From creating? From here? From creating an app. Okay, coming back. Oh, yes, it takes a little bit of time, right? So once you log in, once you register in the developer.spotify.com, you're going to click on Create App, okay? And in the Create App, you're going to put the name, a description, and the callback URL that you get from the Authorization tab on the Postman. Yes? And then you put in here Web API. Okay? And then you click on Understand, and then you click on Save. For the Postman? Here? No, nothing in here. Blank. Okay? So then we save. Okay? After we save, we are ready with a new app. Let's say, for example, this one, and then you click on Settings, and you can access the client ID and the client secret. Yes, that's the callback URL from the Postman. Yeah? So in Postman, you have this, and when you click on collection, you go to authorization, and then you have the callback URL. Okay? And then there you go. This is the callback URL. It's a little bit in gray, but it's the URL itself. Okay, yes, wait 1 minute or two and then should be ready, right? And we can continue in this meantime, right? So remember to put the access token URL and the authorization URL, the auth URL, okay? So let me log in very quick into this account to allow the Spotify. Right now, when I want to click on get new access token, okay, it's asking me to sign in into Spotify. Since I'm using a different browser and I have um, a different account logged in here, I want to go ahead and log in with the account from Spotify. So I'm going to go to Google and add a new account. You guys don't need to follow this. You already logged in yours, I believe. So no, but you need to verify. You need to give the access to Postman, and you have to be logging into Spotify to be able to give that access. They don't need to be in the same account, but you need to be logged in both of them to be able to get the access. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do quick something. So now I'm going to go ahead and access to my. So look at here, it's saying the application PDC Song Recommender. This is the Spotify wants to access wants to access your data. So then, oh, look at this. I have a typo. It's okay. Okay, 1 second, guys. I just didn't give the access. There you go. I gave them the access now. Okay. So close this. So now I have this available token, and I have to put it in the current token, the one that I just created. Okay? And notice in here, this says expires at 6 p.m. So I want to refresh whenever I want to use it again. Okay. So I'm done with my authorization. Now I can make calls. Everybody with me now? Yes. So now I want to go in here into variables so you guys can see this. If you guys want to share this collection with someone else, okay? If you guys want to share this collection with someone else, you don't want them to use your client ID or your client secrets. So you can erase the initial values in here. So when you share it, the current value is not going to be shared with other people, okay? So when you like make this public and you share it with someone else, no, it's not. The current value is not going to be shared, okay? All right. So ready, we can come back into our GET request. So for our guest request, okay, we have we want to provide the track and we want to provide the artist, okay? Oh, I just copy it, okay? So I just copy it from the documentation. So I go here and I search which one is the URL from this API, and I copy this. And I copy this. Oh, so this is one thing. Since I'm going to be using the same URL from here up to here for the two of my requests, I'm going to make a variable called base URL. Okay? So I'm going to call this base URL. I'm going to put it just now up to here, but up to here. Okay? I would call it base URL. Scope, my collection. Okay? So I'm going to create a variable for track just in here, just to give a value, like for example, in my, oh, this is closed in here, close, save and override. 1 second, coming back. Variables, paste URL, and I didn't save it, that's why. Let me go ahead and paste it, not this one, but this one, copy and paste it. Okay, so I have this, save it, and now I know that this goes to the API for the base API URL. Okay, so now the path that goes from the search API is going to be this one. Okay, so if I want to put, let's say for example, toxic plus artist Britney Spears. Britney Spears. Wait a second, guys. And I want to put for track, I'm going to call it type track, okay? And then I want to highlight this and create a new variable, call it, I want to create a new variable, call it track, okay? The scope, track, okay? And the artist in here, Britney Spears, I want to highlight it and create a new variable. Let me just highlight it and create a new variable in here. Call it artist. So now, if I send this, okay, what do I have? I have a response, okay? And if you guys, so I gave the track, and I also gave as value the artist, okay? So the first in here that I have this one, Britney Spears, okay? And in here in these tracks, I have a long list of values in here. Okay, a long list of items. Okay, so we have this, right? Are you guys able to see it? Are you guys able to see the response? But I mean, in your end, on your end, do you guys get a good response? Yes? Okay. So let's go and click on test. From this response, all I want is the track ID. Okay? So I'm going to create a variable, const body. We'll get it from the response body, from this response, okay? So I do PM, which is the prefix for Postman platform, and I put response, and then JSON, because I want to get this is coming in JSON, right? This body is coming in JSON, right? From there, okay, I want to get the first track, okay? First track. And this is just going to be body that items and this is going to be the first element in the items array. Okay? But then what I want is the ID, right? So I'm just going to put it just separate and just going to call it const and this is going to be named track ID. Okay? And this track ID, I will just get it from body that ID. And if you guys want to see, it's not required for me to have, this is JavaScript, does not require to have semicolon in here, but I just put it sometimes, but I just put it here. But first track ID, first track, copy, ID. So I'm going to console that log so you guys can see that there is a value in there, okay? So I'm going to do ID. So if I go ahead and send this, one second. The, yes? Okay. Yes, so I see that I didn't put the tracks which comes before items, right? So if I run this again, and I go in here in the bottom, what do you see in here? The ID, right? In the bottom. So body that tracks the items, okay? So what do we want to do with this ID? We want to store it. Guys, we want to store it. Where? We want to store it in a variable, okay? So I'm going to close the console and put PM that collection variables that set what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a new variable from here, and I'm going to call it track ID. If it does not exist, create it, right? Track ID, and I'm going to give it a value. What? What value? Track ID, correct. So now if I run this again with my test, right? And I go to my here, I can see that the track ID has been stored. Oh my gosh, why do I put some capital? It's okay. But I'm going to make it lowercase because track ID. Capital, lower, save. Okay, so now that we have the track ID, what else do we need? Now that we have the track ID, we're done with this call. What is the next call that we need to make? To get what? What do we do? Yes, the recommendations, guys. So let's go ahead and create a new request. Add request, and I'm going to name it get recommendations. Any names that you guys want? This is just a name. So now we go back into our documentations, and we go to the recommendations API. So we already have this as a variable, okay? Yes. So there are different ways to create new requests. One of this is by just clicking on the collection, and you can just right click and click on add request. Or you can just click on the three dots, or you can go ahead and also click on this new, and so on. Okay? So we are here with this request, okay? And I want to use my base URL / recommendations. Let me just make sure I don't have a misspelling error. So I'm going to just paste it, recommendations. And in here, for the keys, right? For the keys, we have, for the keys, if we already have the track ID, we need to provide the track ID, right? So in here, you can see that if we want to send the tracks, right? This is how it looks like. Send tracks, and there is a track ID in there. Okay? So this is how it's going to look like. Seed tracks. Up to 5 track IDs you can provide, but I'm going to only provide one. Yeah? The which one? Here, this one. Here. The URL? This one? So this is from the, so I just created this variable in here. And it's api.spotify.com. Yeah, but since since I have two requests with the same base URL, I just wanted to use the variable. but you can manually enter it. So in here, in the C tracks, I'm going to just put the track ID. Oh my gosh, 1 second. Save. And coming back in recommendations, track ID. Save. So now, if we send this, look at this. It's a long list or array of tracks, right? But we want only the top 3 recommendations, so the top 5 or the top 10. How many recommendations do you guys want me to give? How many? 2. The top 2 recommendations. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go to test. Okay? So I'm going to also do it in the same way as the other one. Const body, okay? PM that response that JSON, okay? So now what I want to do is to store the top 2. You guys said top 2, not top 3, right? So let's go ahead and create a variable for the top 3. Top 2. Const top 2 recommendations. Right. And what I'm going to do is body that applies it. Give me 1 second. 0, 2. I believe that I need to put tracks in here. Right. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to console dialog so we can see the values. Console dialog to oh, top 2 recommendations. So top recommendations. I'm going to just save this and send this request. And go to my console and see that there are 2 of them. So I go and see, and yes. So we have the top 2 recommendations, okay? So after this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have, I want to grab the track name, okay? So I'm going to grab it from my variables that are already declared. So I'm going to just grab it using, this is going to be called track for now. And I'm going to close this. And this track, I'm going to do PM that collection variables that get, and so I'm going to say track. So I'm going to just get a track variable from here, this one. So now I'm going to create a variable that is going to, for me to write some like template or HTML to make it look nice, to visualize it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and create a variable, call it template. And I'm going to use the tilde and I start writing the HTML in here. So first I'm going to put H3 element for the heading element. Discover new, discover new. Okay. And the exclamation point is important, you know. And I'm going to do a paragraph, and I'm going to say, if you liked track, you will love. And then the colon, and now I'm going to start by creating in another list, UL, and I'm going to use an ish, and I'm going to put top 2 recommendations, okay? And so I'm going to open null and put name, which is we have a name attribute in here. You can see it, like in here. Name, like for example, cool for the summer was one of the recommendations. So I'm going to put it in here. Name. And I'm going to make a anchor tag. I'm going to use an anchor tag called, say, play, for them to just go directly and play that music. href. And provide the URL for them to play that music, okay? So this is called here, external URL. So put into here, open, close, external, URLs, that Spotify, I need to close my anchor tag, which I didn't close. Okay. And close my li tag. Li tag. You know, for every open tag in here. And close my each for each. And I'm done with this part of the HTML. What I want to do in the bottom is to visualize it, okay? So this is what we're going to do. PM that visualizer and template. And to visualize the template and provide the set of values which I need, which are going to be drag and the top two recommendations. And I have to do visualizer that set. Okay, because I cannot just do visualizer, I have to do visualizer that set. All right, so if I send this and I click on visualize, this is the output. We have visualized it. And if you click on here, you can just play the music. And the visualize in the bottom here. So you can put pretty, raw, view, or visualize. Ready? Ask questions? Good? So for you to click on the play, I click on here, go to here. It should take you to the Spotify thingy for that song. Christina Aguilera. I never heard that song, you know, but you should probably know it. Yes, you do have to have a Spotify account. Oh, you mean, okay, 1 second. Copy this and there. It's not necessary for you to be able to have access to see this directly. But if you want to like listen to the lyrics, see the lyrics. What is this? Listen to the lyrics. Come on. Yes, but this is it, guys. Yeah. Below. Oh, what happens in there? Am I still sharing the screen? Okay. All right, guys. So any questions? Oh, I see what's on. Nobody's there. All right. So any questions, guys? So you have now learned how to implement a workflow. So if you guys save this, okay, and right now you go into this collection and you click on run, okay, and you click on run this, you will run this, but at the same time, you will be able to see different recommendations. So in here, I'm going to run it from here, and I'm going to see a different recommendation. Run again. I see a different recommendation. Now, if you guys want, you can also change, it does not have to be Toxic by Britney Spears. You guys have your favorite music. You put your favorite music in there and get your recommendations. So we are done with the with this. Any questions so far? Were you guys able to visualize it? Any questions? This is the Q&A now. You guys want me to send you some extra resources? Okay. So I don't have a paper with me. If you guys write down your name and I can. And today I have enough. Yeah, one for each one. Guys, I promise that there is going to be nice swag. I requested a swag. You see this shirt? I have requested the swags. They didn't send it to me on time. But for the next workshop, I will have that swag. And it's going to be real nice swag. Look, like a temperature bottle. Like, you know the bottle, but with the temperature thing in top? That's cool, right? And there is like a dairy to take notes and a bunch of stuff. But for now, I only have to give you some stickers. Okay? No questions today because we have enough. Okay? Oh, but this is the Postman Expert one. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Here. And there you go. So, did you have any? You know what? Maybe I cannot let you go without giving me some feedback. So give me 1 second. Let me grab a feedback link, and then you guys can give me some feedback.